Hey yo, cue a sound effect.
What's going on, everybody? It's your boy BJ, the DJ. On behalf of Over the Top with Chad and Tony, this is another rapid review. You know, I was sitting here riding home the other day from a wedding, and this song came on my playlist off Spotify, and I thought, man, that would be a cool soundtrack to cover because it started taking me back. So then I just went and started listening to the soundtrack. So for this particular rapid review, I'm going to cover another movie that's near and dear to my heart personally. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. I could watch it every single time it's on TV. Or if I see it just come across streaming sites, I'll just turn it on. And the movie is 8 Mile. Obviously, I feel like here we are, another rapper movie. Here we are, another rap soundtrack. But just that's my genre. That's my niche. That's what I love to listen to. But this one, man, this one just hit different because here we are, mid 2000s. Shady Records is riding high. You've got the Eminem Show just did 1.4 million in 7 days. Shady and Aftermath just did the joint venture with 50 Cent. Obi Trice is the next hottest thing out of Detroit. D12, 2 multi-platinum albums back to back. And just Shady Records is riding high, right? We didn't know at the time how big 50 Cent was going to be. So for him to be featured on this soundtrack was a really big deal because outside of the How to Rob and the Power of a Dollar, this was our first introduction to 50 as an artist. And he floods this. Obviously, Wankster's on here. Places to Go, which is a banger. These songs really showcase how good 50 is and what to expect from 50 for his debut album, Get Rich or Die Trying, which would sell 800,000 in the first week. So, but the 8 Mile soundtrack, first of all, I love the movie, and I feel like it's a semi-biopic, obviously loosely based on Eminem's life and his rise in the battle scene. But what they did with the soundtrack, and I love this, the same with the Hustle and Flow soundtrack, is they used established artists with a name and a following, and that were certified as the foundation for that. Obviously, you've got Eminem all over it. You've got 50 all over it. D12, Obi Trice. You've got Rakim on here. You've got Jay-Z and Freeway. So it's solidified in a sense of who you have featured on this soundtrack. For me, obviously, Lose Yourself is the single off this album. For me, it's not my favorite song. Obviously, it would win an Academy Award, go on to be a huge hit for Eminem, and a huge song for the history of hip hop. But it's probably at the lower tier of my favorite songs off this album, just because it was oversaturated, overplayed. Clearly, the message, clearly the story, clearly the song itself is great. But I just found other songs on here that hit me differently. And one in particular, this is probably my favorite song off the whole album. It's called 8 Mile. And what I love most about this is the whole concept of the song. It's talking about the story itself in the movie, where Eminem is really trying to figure out life and what's next and what steps he needs to take to get his life back on track. And it shows him, the visuals for this particular song are what I love the most, is because it shows him on the train or on the subway, and he's pulling out a piece of paper and he's writing his ideas and his thoughts down on this paper. He's got his headphones on. He's just kind of stuck in his own little world. And it just, all of that is embodied in the concept of the song 8 Mile. That's not the only one off the album that does that. The other one, again, this is another one of my favorite ones, is called Rabbit Run. And if you're listening to the soundtrack, it's actually the last song on the soundtrack, but it's one of those, like, the frustration, the anger, the resentment, every emotion that Eminem has in the movie is embodied, encapsulated inside that song, Rabbit Run. And I think that's why those two, because I feel like those two songs capture everything that the movie is about, right? Other songs that stand out to me on this one as well, again, Wankster, going to be a huge hit for 50. It would go on to be one of his best songs ever. Places to Go was a dead sleeper, man. That song, I don't think anybody realized how hot that song was going to be when it came out. Exhibit has a banger on here too, man. And I loved Exhibit with Aftermath. I felt like if anybody could embody the culture of what Aftermath was about, it would have been Exhibit. I love the work him and Dre did. I love the work him and M did. But for some reason, they just never could finalize the Aftermath deal with Exhibit. But we still got some pretty great records out of that with Dre and Exhibit. This one on here is called Spit Shine. Really dope song, man. And again, I wish they could have brought Exhibit into the fold a little bit more, and put him under that umbrella. I felt like his career would have taken off. I feel like everything that 50 got as far as return, Exhibit would have had the same type of luxury and luck. So another song on here I really enjoy, and this is the first time we really see the powerhouse that Shady could be, was the Rap Game song. And you've got D12, already established artist, 2 multi-platinum albums. You got 50 on the hook, and you get this line from Eminem that's probably if there was a line that could showcase Eminem in that era of his 0 F's given, his mindset, his mentality. It's in the Rap Game song, and it goes, think for a minute since the hype has died down that I won't go up in the Oval Office right now and flip whatever ain't tied down upside down. Just that mentality was on full display. Again, he's the biggest rap artist in the world. We just got the Eminem show. We just got the Jay-Z feature on Renegade. Like, he is the hottest commodity in rap music. And his attitude of I could care less if you like me or you don't was just on full display in that song. So, other songs I really enjoyed, the Freeway and Jay-Z joint, 8 Miles and Running, I thought was a really cool concept. And I don't know if this was like an exchange for the Renegade record. If like, hey, you did this for me, so here's something for your soundtrack. But I was always a huge Freeway fan also. And I felt like Freeway was very underrated as a rapper. And I feel like, his lyrical ability is on full showcase on this song here, and he stands toe-to-toe with Jay as they go back and forth. The concept of the song is cool because Jay's like 8 miles and running, got my 7th album drumming, and so like him, it's like he's saying like, hey, I'm here, I'm top dog right now. Nobody's eating except me. But then Freeway comes in with 6 miles and running, got my first album dropping. And so he's saying, hey, I'm not there yet, but I'm on my way. And I love the back and forth there and the playfulness in that song. I thought they did a really good job. There were a few songs on here by a few of my favorite artists that just fell flat to me. One being the Rakim song. I don't know why the Rakim Dre relationship didn't work. I've heard different podcasts, different stories about the creative differences, but I would have loved, just a little bit of tease we got with Rakim and Dre. I would have loved to have heard a full album. I don't know. Like I said, don't know what happened, but that song just fell flat to me. Wasn't a real big fan of that. The Nas joint on there, don't know if that was a trade-off for the production M did on Godson. I have to look at that timeline, but I'm just not a big fan of that joint. I think it kind of fell flat also. The Boom Cat song, not really sure what that was all about. The Gangstar song, I get it. The whole battle rap concept thing with the movie, I understand why they put that in there, but that song, it's a skip for me anytime that song comes up. The Macy Gray joint is another I'll skip through also. But one song that ended up being a certified banger to me, and I still listen to it to this day, and it's really because I'm a huge fan, and that's the Young Z song. We get the Young Z interlude on the D12 album, so you're anticipating a Young Z album on Shady at some point, and then we get a full song from him on the 8 Mile soundtrack. But that's another one of those things. I don't know why the Young Z project never came out on Shady. I don't know the politics or what happened on the back end, but that's another one I really was looking forward to that we never got. But again, I think this soundtrack did a great job of showcasing the Shady Records roster more than anything. several things on there just didn't make sense in the grand scheme of things, but overall the soundtrack is really, really solid. Some might say that this was the end of Shady's dominating era, because like I said, we got the Eminem show at 1.4 million sold in 7 days. 50's about to be the hottest commodity in rap music. D12, 2 multi-platinum albums. Obi Trice's second album is coming, which didn't sell near as good as his first album. I actually like the second album great. I love Obi Trice as a rapper, but it didn't do the numbers. Obi gets shot. Proof gets killed. Eminem goes through his drug issues, and then the next album we get from him is Encore, which has its moments, but obviously it's not the Eminem show, and this is where everyone starts thinking that this is the end of Eminem. And then after that we get Relapse, and if I can be honest, as a fan, Relapse is a hard listen. There are some songs on there that are like, okay, cool, but it's a hard listen. And then when you understand kind of what he was going through personally during that time, you kind of understand it. Until we got Recovery, that was, and it wasn't perfect. Recovery wasn't perfect, but it was definitely headed in the right direction. I think the Coup de Grace album was the one where everything Eminem was trying to do with mixing the Marshall Mathers persona with the Slim Shady persona always fell short. And I think Coup de Grace was finally the masterpiece that he had been searching for so many years. But a lot of people will argue that the 8 Mile soundtrack was the last time that Shady was really at the top of its game. So overall, if I'm rating this thing on a scale from 1 to 10, clearly I love the movie. Soundtrack doesn't fall short whatsoever. I'd put it about a 7 out of 10. The songs that are great on this album far exceed the ones that are just like, and the ones you don't understand. You want those songs to be better because obviously everyone's a fan of the artist for the most part. So you want to see those songs do well, but they just didn't fit the overall vibe of the soundtrack. And I wish Shady would have just kind of kept it all in-house, because there was a lot there. So that's what I got. The 8 Mile soundtrack. Great movie, great soundtrack. 7 out of 10. Check it out. I'm BJ the DJ.
Hey yo, cue a sound effect.